Within what we call the animal kingdom, which includes everything from people to fish to birds to dinosaurs, everything like that, there are a couple of different groups. They're called phyla. There are a few of them: mollusks like snails, chordates like mammals and you and me, and arthropods like insects and spiders. But I want to tell you about a different phylum. Unless you live by the ocean, you may have never seen one. They're called echinoderms. Echinoderms is a word that means spiny skin. This is one. Can you tell what that is? It's the shell of a sea urchin. If you think about sea urchins, you picture little balls of spikes, and you're right. But when they die, the spikes and the animal inside rot away, and the shell is left. And if you look very, very closely, you can see the holes where the spikes would have come through. Echinoderms first appeared on Earth over 400 million years ago, and they're still around today. Now, I said that unless you live by the seaside, you may have never seen one before. That's because, unlike mollusks or chordates or arthropods, no echinoderms live on land or in fresh water. They only live in the sea. But even if you haven't seen them, you may have heard of them. Sea urchins, starfish, sea cucumbers, they're all echinoderms. They don't have backbones. They have hard, prickly outer skins, as I said, and they have something called radial symmetry. That means that if I were to take this sea urchin and cut it in half, I could go in just about any direction and I'd still get two equal halves. Chordates, like human beings, have what's called bilateral symmetry, which means that if you were to cut a person in half, not that I'm recommending you try, you will only get two identical halves in one direction, like this. So, what is the big deal about echinoderms? Well, you can eat them, for one thing. Sea urchins, for instance, form part of the traditional seafood of Greece, Japan, and some other places. You also remember my saying that they've been around for hundreds of millions of years. Well, in hundreds of millions of years, a lot of echinoderms live and die. And when they die, these shells pile up. And they're made of calcium and other minerals. Those piles of shells crumble together and over time will harden into limestone. Limestone is very important for a couple of reasons. Large parts of the world, including Ontario, which is where I'm from, are built on limestone bedrock. It's the substance that most caves are tunneled out of. And caves, of course, form a habitat for bats and other organisms, including early human beings. And the ancient Maya built their pyramids out of it. And the best part is, sometimes a shell will get buried whole in the limestone. And when that limestone hardens, that shell will stay in there as a fossil. Thank you, sea urchin.